Peace to the family, peace to you and yours. Your brother Redpill representing Know the Ledge. I'm here with the legend.
We know 300 gangsters, PFK boom, front line, the revolutionary, let's go.
Alrighty. We here with QueButter.
Also Dot from Zayat.
Salute. Yeah, man. So we out here in Harlem right now, 2/5, chopping it up with the OGs and whatnot. And we just want to address some things that's going on in the street. We want to have a site for a bill, give some OG wisdom, you know what I mean, to some of the things we see not just going on in the hood, but going on in the culture, going on, you know, in the minds and the hearts of people globally. Because when you look at the numbers of people that are tuned in, and when you look at the number of people that are being affected or being influenced rather, or I'm in these streets every day, when I'm seeing the number of people that are being influenced by online culture and waves, I'm like, nah, this shit has the, it can affect your household. So we're gonna chop it up, man. The God we just was building earlier about the crisis that is going on in B-More. You know what I mean? Salute to the family out in B-More. Shout out to my brother out there, my brother Jabari, the promoter and whatnot. Shout out to everybody, beautiful family out there. Whenever I go and teach, always beautiful brothers and sisters showing up. Can you build quickly on, you know, the state of emergency that's taking place out there? Or the state of affairs, rather. I don't want to manifest, you know what I mean? Yeah.
But you definitely was right on point. I mean, you are totally on point, because right now in Baltimore, we dealing with 3 wars on the ground. Outside of that, what we really dealing with that many do not understand. See, Baltimore killers and robbers are made. See, our killers are made. See, our solitary confinement is average at 4.9. See, at our state is at 8.9. So are you telling me what you're doing is you're making killers? It's no state's attorney type of prevention. There's no. Yeah. What we dealing with, it takes a killer to raise a killer now. Now we dealing with, it takes a robber to raise a robber. It's not going to be a criminologist no more, because you have definitely went into the depths of the minds of 300 gangster lane now, because we have brothers who are, in that world, who resurrected from being. But what we all have, and we all realize, we all got homicidal tendencies out of Baltimore.
Facts.
They gave us that. We know that. So we all we need to try to control that. But what's going on is what's supposed to be going on due out of your mass incarceration situation. Remember that?
Yes,
and then of course everybody, now, the product that you're seeing on your streets throughout the world is from, the mass incarceration, individually, tuberculosis, as you know, it go higher when a young man doesn't get the vitamin C's. Once you turn a mind to a certain way, this ain't no coming back, ain't no Redpill boom or Big Wolf won't be able to do that, you know what I mean? Because you're dealing with the inhumane area now. Now you're dealing with an area that,
you can't necessarily come back from.
Love and all that got to deal with that. And the killer guy raised the killer now, and that's what we raised.
No doubt.
That's my job. Send me to the killers, send me to your problem.
Facts.
Send me to your pain, I mean? That's
no doubt.
That's what we do.
You know what I mean? And you were discussing about the fact that, the type of children that you want to be responsible for raising up may be termed at risk. Because usually they put titles or these, these loaded titles to, to describe something that we just blatantly saying the killers, the shooters. You know what I mean? The gutter, and not the goody two shoes.
No, I don't want none of them.
Yeah.
See, what we do in our nation, we use the goody two shoes, because with our nation, 300 shooters, they are 25 and under, they have an overstanding that says it takes the youth to lead the youth. So what we do is empower a little couple leaders in that process and let them go in and bump their head and do all that. Because we was, it's a pass the torch thing, because no torch was passed to me and you, Pill. We had to take it.
You had to take it.
So now we know that we got to give it to them. So we let them fall, bump their head. But my kid's 25 and 15, why not throw them out there? You know what I'm saying? That's what it is.
Facts. And can you describe what the 300 shooters is?
Well, the 300 shooters is a movement of our youth that's 25 and under. Their motto is, it came from out of a basketball situation. So of course we don't do nigger balls. What we did did was we said, well, how can we get some life skills that they can survive off through the basketball process after the ad come out? You see what I'm saying? So they got a motto that's called shooting for the stars, shooting for ball shots, and shooting for survival. And it has lanes. So the shooting for survival and would be maybe an at-risk youth who used to play basketball, got in trouble, and he could come back to teach the collateral damage of the mistakes he made. So it's different lanes. The basketball guy that didn't make this mistake, he might do free throws or collateral damage of college, SAT. So there's many lanes that the student athlete, because what we also do, all our young men are entrepreneurs. See, my son is 15 years old. He's an entrepreneur. He runs his company, 300 Shooters. He runs that, my 15-year-old.
That's right.
So if you ain't teaching no kid entrepreneurship, then you're raising a slave. So what I do is, I still want my son to hire that young man. I don't want another race to get that young man. And so until we can get him right. But no, at least don't give him to another race or something.
Right.
Still give him to my son. Still give him to us. Everybody doesn't want to, everybody, like Wolf always says, everybody's not an entrepreneur.
No.
Everybody's entrepreneur, be no businesses. So stop thinking or pushing a lot of people out their lanes.
That's right.
You might be taking a great worker, making a poor owner.
Say that again.
That's right.
You might be taking a good worker and making a poor owner. Like, what is you doing? That's why we try to, I send him to you, send him to me. That's why we send him to the urban griots to see where he's best in the village. Come on, man, you jumping all on the front line back. Was wondering why you getting resistance.
What would you think would be a great rites of passage that those of us that in the streets that know these things, this wisdom that you just shared, what do you think could be a good rites of passage where we could begin to identify these different children for their gifts and talents and kind of steer them in a direction that speaks to their purpose? Because keep in mind, because of the music industry and the fact that they're controlling the message or the agenda through their dollars, through their loan, through their expendable income, they're steering the message, and the message is steering the children into only thinking that there's about 4 options out of about 400 that we could identify that exist right now.
Well, what we do is, see, like I told you, I'm in a war-torn situation in my city. So I cannot do none of these operations or implementations in a war-torn. So what we do is, implementing them things, see, we got a van service and others. We take these kids out of that advice. I can't really diagnose him if he's still in the war.
That's right.
Because he's only going to give me a reflection to the survival tactics. You know that armor and shield. He's not going to give you the chakra who I am. He's not going to give you that. So I got to take him out, and that's when the tears come down. I just want to be an artist. I just want to be an engineer. I just want to. You'll get all those, but you can't get that. You cannot handle. You can't attack the problem in Brooklyn and expect a solution to be in Brooklyn. Take them out of Brooklyn, bring them to Baltimore with boom, walk around the streets, you never know what you might get. And just because you took that kid out of there and them extra raids, the Tubman ancestors got a hold up. You see what I'm saying? The Tubman ancestors might have got a hold up. Right now the ancestors, you know what I mean? They're in me now. So the Tubman ancestors might have to get them. We might have to go a little deeper for the ones that are really, but I said, got that mess in their mouth. You know, you might have to go really take them somewhere where more of us are, and especially one who have been there. Know your lane. Stop going into the lion's den. If you're not the lion, like, I'm going to give you your turn. I'm going to go grab Shorty. Let me get him right. Then I'm going to bring him to you.
That's right.
But if you, like a poor righteous teacher, we all got lanes. That's me and Wolf lane. You can Google both my names and see that would be my lane. You come on, Marcus Most Wanted and everything. What more would I need to be at to let these little kids know I've been there? Google me, Shorty. I put my whole record on my back. We don't clear our records up in 300 gangs. I've been on 20 years because I got to show Shorty. Like a lot of people ain't been there. Being street, that little street thing or whatever they saying, we know it's not slick. It never was slick. I got grown men who don't know their lane, making the kid think it's slick. You don't have to smoke no blunt with Shorty to try to win him over. See, that ain't boom. When I see that, I'ma deal with you. You know what I mean? You trying to do all those little extra, pieces that's further growing this child to try to get them where we want to get them at. And again, I hear all these guys talk mentor. Last time I checked, the child choose you, B. We're not community leaders. We don't use none of that. We 300 gangsters. Graduating All Nations Gang of Salvation Go Advancing Society. They gotta call us leaders. The community gotta say, well, that's the community leader. We can't walk around saying, you can't say, I'm a mentor. You can't do that. A mentee chooses you. You be like, dang, I gotta watch myself. Oh man, keep on calling. Let me fix my plan. Hey, buddy, you got it. Now he chose you. That's what it is. That's you. He chose you. The kids are allowed to choose you. You see a mentor who's got kids that he has chosen, and I show you a kid that he's had that's slaves. I got 6 kids. I know how they play games. He give them cookies and candy, and they out of there. It's real, man. It's
Right.
real. It's real.
Right.
And it's not their fault. It's because of the lack of us not doing what these kids are doing exactly what they're supposed to do. Kill,
right.
kill, kill. Hurt
right.
people, hurt people. And disappointment is dangerous. How many times we disappointed them from the cradle to the time he picked the gun up, then we'll find a problem. We'll find all them lying people that lied to this boy and this girl. Disappointment is dangerous. It started with the Billers with their little story with the little Satan and little man thing from the beginning of time. That's their little story.
Yeah.
But you know, he was mad because what you mean this nigga better than
I gotta
me?
bow down to
Come
these
on, man, he
niggas.
was disappointed. And we
Look.
have disappointed our babies too long.
Ironically enough, a brother who's well known in your state for the energy that he was able to transform into gold, Tupac Amaru Shakur, he coined the term thug life and he tatted it on his chest.
Yes.
And
Shit, I know
where
exactly what it means.
yeah, with a
God hate you,
OGs, there
gay
you
Lord
go.
Memphis, fuck
Where
everybody.
the
I had that shit.
OGs fell is they perpetuated the hate.
Yes, they did. They never put the actual lit on the street. They put it on that after he died. That man got 25 rules.
You understand? They lionized and they immortalized, but they did not stick with the ingredient that made him. They didn't stick with the wisdom. They didn't stick with the jewels. You know what I'm saying? The jewels was never ignorant, getting goals accomplished. The hate you gave little infants fucked everyone. Now, if we do a diagnosis on not just our babies, because if we may be speaking to a humanitarian that's out there, we will go as far as to saying those babies, the ones that are shooting up everything, the ones that are killing everything. Somebody gave them hate. The hate that their race gave them towards us fucks everybody because they're growing up to be baby killers and whatnot. And people be like, oh, we not like them because we don't shoot up schools. You shoot hoods up. Don't try to compare to the carnage, my nigga. You know what I mean? And they're trained to hunt. They were babies hunting in the forest, hunting dark animals, melanated animals. They're not killing white wolves and white bears. They're killing brown bears, brown deers, brown elks. You know what I'm talking about? They're practicing to shoot you. So the hate you gave little infants, even today, today happens to be what is known as New York City pride. The reason why all of these corporations are in contempt and the reason why quote unquote heterosexual black people should be held in contempt is that they celebrate a mental dysfunction amongst a group of people who have all, not all, but if we do a majority ratios, the majority of them have said that they've been abused. So to celebrate the aspect of the fact that they, remember, their trauma brings them together. It's not love.
That's
It's
the
their
connection.
trauma. Their trauma is the connection. Their trauma is the connection. They get together and they got stronger because of their trauma. They have healed because of their trauma. But don't get it fucked up. It's the rape, it's the trauma, it's somebody touching them, it's the father fucking with the woman and making her a certain way. And then after these niggas dogged her because she was already damaged, she became a lesbian or trisexual or whatever it is. It was the trauma aspect. And the principle that's identified as the culprit is the male principle. You understand what I'm saying? It's a heterosexual male principle. So that is being attacked. While they're getting stronger, that is being attacked. Please understand that. So even if y'all don't think that you're doing it, you're doing that because you're adapting and you're embracing the hate that they gave the little infants. Remember, these infants were damaged in the womb, some of them. If you have a flower that doesn't want to blossom, you got to go all the way back into the biological aspect of what went wrong, what happened, what got tinkered with. So there's a lot of trauma in our communities. The fact that we've been traumatized as child soldiers coming up in certain eras. I came up in the 90s. Brooklyn, Flatbush, New York, they were child soldiers. I don't give a fuck with nobody's. I don't watch the Congo and the Lord of the Flies or whatever this shit. They was doing general butt naked was in my hood too. You understand? When the video games, niggas was treating the hood like video games before the video games. So you can't necessarily blame it on the video games. Because the niggas was pulling Call of Duty ops in the hood in the 90s. Cold-blooded. And to relish on the past and try to bring it back, you're only going to bring back this nightmare that we keep complaining about, because there was a lot of violence and a lot of killing and a lot of terrorism and a lot of trauma in our past. Let's be honest about that. Let's be, because we relish and we romanticize, but we have to be honest that if you keep bringing it back, nigga, if they bring back the 90s flat tops, they bringing back the 90s headshots too. So it ain't, oh, the gangs in New York is Tekashi and them got the Bloods. Nigga, the Deceps was turned up before the Bloods, and the gangs before them was turned up. So we always been turned up. Don't get alarmed. Baltimore, from my understanding, there's always been a overcount of bodies.
Right. Since
There's always been a surplus of murder. So he said that they raised them as murderers. What we do as utopians or visionaries is that we say, all right, well, we've identified where we could get our armed forces for. Because hold on, Willie, go inside that red bag and pull out that article that you gave me on the paper right in that red bag. There's an article that talks about the gang recruitment inside of the quote-unquote armed forces. I have an article that the armed forces or the feds put out to warn. There's like the Bloods in them, and they was like everybody's in the army infiltrated, even the white supremacists, and they're more, but they gotta use us as scapegoats. So our children who were born a certain kind of way, these are your soldiers. These are all you niggas be scared whenever somebody want to do a new Black Wall Street. You've been indoctrinated to be self-defeating, and the people that raise Wolf and raise the OG, the OGs that raised me, that would never come out their mouth because they were built a certain kind of way. If you gave these niggas an opportunity for 40 acres and a mule in the 80s, bro, you know what they would have did with that? Some niggas, a whole group of people that had some drug money, if they knew that we could get land and start cultivating cities and towns, so we have to begin to recruit some of our young men and women who have been created, they've been molded and groomed to be in that hate energy. Okay? We have to give them some form of love. It has to be real love. It can't be draped in this flag and being fake love. Because the worst thing that you could do to any one of those children or any one of our people in a time like this where we're identifying that there's a war taking place is to fuck with our minds. You can fuck with my pockets, I'll bounce back from that. You dig what I'm saying? You can't fuck with my family and you can't fuck with my mind. You fuck with my family, you fucking with my mind. So these people who are out here perpetrating a front in times of war, this ain't peacetime, family. This war. And you had people who promised you that they were going to protect you. You had people who promised you that they were going to activate soldiers. You had people who promised you that they were going to operate like a general and have those marching orders. And have our people respond to the assaults that took place 10 years ago. Because they started bombing on our people in like 08. Right?
We put them in line in 85. When they dropped that joint in 85, that's when that trickle of fear that don't nobody want to talk about. Like, don't go up against a politician. Don't go up against the police. You know, that trickle of fear from 85 would move.
Yeah, we're moving all of that.
And put that little, and semen and all that, it was punk semen going around from 85. Niggas was busting nuts, punkish.
Yeah.
No rebels coming out of that. Rubble was coming out of that. Not rebel, rubble.
Yeah.
That's all we got is rubble.
Yeah. That's just the article speaking about that's the intelligence report about the infiltration inside of the armed services with all of these quote-unquote gangs. But what they're saying is they're afraid that the gang members are gonna come back and teach their gangs how military training, and they say law enforcement is not equipped to engage any kind of urban gangs with military training. But you niggas don't have nothing to worry about because a lot of niggas do not do that. I know a ton of veterans, and they haven't uttered once how the motherfucking, they haven't shared any of the gems. No. But guess who is? Guess who is? Those who were there initially to do that job. They're living up to their obligations. They're going back and teaching their community. Facts. You know what I'm saying? Super facts. So, go ahead.
But you gotta understand on top of that right there, just 3 days ago, the report came out of Ferguson, Baltimore, in reference to what we were saying about with all the killings, how it are affecting now, of course we know, the citizen. So the citizen is not even a citizen no more on top of this warfare we talk about because you're not dealing with the PTS and all these hearing the ambulance, hearing this. Now they have actually did a diagnosis, so even the way you respond to it now is not the way grandma responded. It is coaching that is really needed. Like, to learn how to live again has to be retaught now. Because the streets are ran like courtyards now, because everybody has been locked up. 1 in 8 people have been locked up. So your streets is really like a courtyard. So if you've never really been to prison or ran a courtyard,
then
to
you
put
don't know
respect
how.
on it,
Yeah.
then you get hit up, you don't know what's going on. You're like a nomad. Most youths, man, this is what we ask you. When you can't, everybody can't go in the courtyard, right? Some people stay in their cell. That's the ones who stay in their house.
Yeah,
the courtyard is the ones who can get it done. We in the courtyard. All this is courtyard. Like this is really cool. You got different nationalities.
Open market,
homosexuality. You got drugs over there. You got weed over here. And you look at it from a courtyard. And if you've never been to jail, what do? They suck them under me and you, because we've been there. It's natural to us now.
Fact.
This is our environment. This is where we
Through
belong.
our rites of passage, through our urban warfare training. Remember, we got prepared to. We're here for a reason, and we were groomed and fashioned and prepared through the 80s, the 90s, the early 2000s, all the way up into now, and the babies that are being born prepared. How about that for size? And the ones who are not prepared, then you just know that there's 2 types of people on the planet. You know what I'm saying? Those whose lights are on and those whose lights are off, right? And we need to focus and put more energy on those whose lights are on, because those whose lights are on are crying out. Those whose lights are on are being misdirected. Those whose lights are on are being dimmed by the hate that you gave little infants that fucks everybody, because they're going into a darker place because the fact that their hearts are becoming heavier after they see that you niggas really don't love them.
They see that.
They see that you niggas don't love them because they know that they see that you niggas don't love yourself. And they're getting a curated version of somebody who loves themselves, and they don't even love themselves, but they understand marketing and promotion, so they're marketing the fact that they love themselves. All of these niggas that's under the spell have a heavy doses of television programming, video game programming, talk show programming, miseducation it's a trend. Trauma, all kind of shit. Music especially. That's one of the glues. So if you grew up listening to DMX as a baby, if you grew up listening to Cisco and all of these other effeminate, if you grew up and, and no shots at MJ, he's a legend. No shots at any of my androgynous legends that are out there. But a lot of children didn't necessarily get the OG father-like talk. That energy was like, nah, that nigga was special. He's not like everybody. He's an entertainer. You know what I'm saying? He gets a pass. They didn't get that. They were watching shit like the last show of Jerry Springer just aired the other day. I think it was the episodes in 1,000. That was one of the most detrimental programming, because remember, he's a politician, so he was still doing a job for the government. That is one of the most cancerous, detrimental reality shifting, because they say reality TV. I could point out a number of shows that shifted reality, that changed reality, nigga.
That
What
is
the fuck
true.
is you talking about?
That's
Niggas
documented.
is like, yo, it's not real, it's written. Nigga, it was written. The curses are written. What are you talking about? It's not organic. They write it out. They wrote out a personage or archetype, and didn't all of these chicks transform into that? More, because they're gonna be somebody out there like, oh, I don't watch that. Well, I'm not talking to you, but you're 1 in 8 right now because the bombardment. The enemy that we has, who is both covert and overt, and he works through people like that movie with Denzel. The God know the devil don't have a fucking nationality. It don't have a complexion. It's a frequency. It's an energy. We live in a world of polarities and dualities.
Exactly.
I wouldn't be no kind of weird nigga to kind of tell you. I wouldn't practice the weird science that Q was talking about, that the pseudos talk about, and say that only white people are quote unquote, or so-called white people are evil, or can have devilish ways. No, that spirit jumps out of niggas of every single complexion of the rainbow, like that rainbow flag that they be waving. It operates in all spectrums.
Can we
You
say
feel me?
if black man is God? I've always heard this, then he has the highest level of the devil. Do you buy into that, or is that because if we are God, the opposite of us has to be the highest, or whatever that opposite is?
I live in a world of duality. I obey the Hermetic principles,
Ashe.
or what is known as the Emerald Tablets.
Right. Yeah.
It made my life very.
Vibration,
It made my life very more simpler.
Cause and effect.
It broke away all that religious bullshit.
that is true.
All that it shaved a lot of that stuff down for me.
Hermetic
When
stuff,
I studied that, and then I paid attention to universal laws as well. And that's something that I just can't wake up and decide, yeah, today I'm gonna follow that. Nigga, that's what you follow. You stop breathing, you not here. Wherever you wake up, Wakanda or wherever niggas go, that's where you go. But you're not here no more. Facts. So I know that in the law of duality, as God-like that we can be, because we've witnessed God-like beings, melanated, sentient beings, to show you that this shit is exclusive to us. I've been a connoisseur of pop culture for 42 years. I've seen everything that they threw at us. I never seen a white god. Facts on this planet. I never seen one of their own turn into a god in front of me. I have never seen that. I'm not an Elvis fan, nigga. I don't buy into the Tom Cruise shit. Like, they never turn one of their own into a god. Maybe a TV legend or some shit, you know, a Hollywood blockbuster. But they crucify their own. They don't got no God. We create gods, bro. I done seen Farrakhan and Elijah, the old, you know what I mean? The Garveys,
bad
you know,
men,
the Haitian like I done seen niggas get on their God shit because remember, God is just an action. We're not getting religious. We're talking about an action. I haven't seen somebody basically commit turn the course of history and to click, you know what I mean? To just end the motherfucking chapter of our suffering, our downtroddenness, because you can't put pressure on coal but for so long, on carbon. That nigga, we are eventually gonna start blinging. And we've been doing that. And what you see is that energy that doesn't like to basically, remember, it's balance. So going back to what I'm saying, you only know your strength based off of your resistance. You only could qualify if you are godlike, only if you were in a devilish-like environment or amongst what are known as devils. How could God measure God if he's only surrounded by God? What the fuck is your measurement? So that's why the lotus flower grows in the motherfucking concrete or the mud.
Yeah.
That's why you find light and darkness. You feel me? That's why you find light and darkness, because in the darkness is the light. That's why you got legends coming out of Brownsville, Bed-Stuy. Even you know what I mean? Even nice guys. You pull up the list of people who came out of what are known as the hoods, because I don't say ghetto, because ghetto refers to what are known as Jews. That a ghetto, the same way that Slavs or slaves only refer to Slavs. So you can never be a slave. Once you said that, once you accepted that term, you should say prisoner of war. You should say something like, a land, what are known as a sharecropper. You can't be something that you are not. You're not Slavs, so you're not slaves. The original concept of what you know as slavery, both chattel and everything, it was bestowed upon people who are slave-like. Those were the Slavs. That's the European. That was the Caucasoid. So my people was prisoners of war. We lost the war. Shit got bad for us. You understand? So that energy or that frequency, right, is trying to stop us from doing what it is that we know we're supposed to be doing. That frequency has so many of our brothers and sisters under its control, right? That lower frequency, that fear frequency, that hate frequency, that dual, that devilish, because devil is lived backwards. That backwards living energy. If you're not pro-life, nigga, you living backwards. If you're not about if you're not about gentrifying your own community, you're living backwards. You're destroying it. And they got an answer to that. That answer is the European popping up, taking over. And if you don't think he's taking your ladies, he's taking your apartments, You understand? And he's not breaking bread with you. So what is that? You don't get more money unless you selling pills and coke. When white people gentrify your neighborhood, they don't support you. They're not there for that. How the hell does your rent go up $1,000 because white people live around you? That's an insult. And you pay the money and you don't say nothing. But our women are all about security. So they flock to what they think is the highest form of security. And right now in gentrified communities, that is a white man. Facts. That's why you see that shit going crazy. So we have to get back in our right minds, family.